So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast.
And welcome, it's Dan. Honestly, I've not gone live for like a week, and suddenly I seem to forget how to operate all the software. It's really funny. Anyway, I hope you're well. Today is Tuesday, as it happens. Hope you're well today, and we're going to talk about coaching. And I've had a number of coaches in all aspects of my life, really, including health, for example, helped me lose like 12 kilos in, 10 months or something like that, which is pretty life-changing. But I've also had business coaches and marketing coaches and people to help me with specific aspects of my life, to do with fitness and to do with mental well-being and to do with just becoming the person that I am today, really. And all of it has helped, obviously. There are so many different ways that you can get help in your business, and this is for me about what's the quickest way to get the solution, and the quickest way to get the solution is to speak to somebody who's already done it effectively and has already grown their business similar to mine, or in a way that allows me to grow my business quicker than I could do than if I didn't have a coach. And so in today's session, I want to have a discussion around 4 reasons, really, why getting a coach will drive your business forward quickly. And the first one, just a biggie, is the no hiding or accountability. Like the number, obviously we've got clients, and the number of times they come to me and go, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then we have a coaching call in 2 weeks or the next month. And I go, okay, these were the things that you said you were going to do. Out of that lot, how much have you got done? And they go, oh, I haven't got any of it done. And it's like, okay, let's talk about that. Because that's just really, really important. Because how you do one thing is how you do most things, let's say. It's supposed to be how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I disagree with that. How you do one thing is how you do most things. And if you're failing to do the things that you've said, that you've agreed upon, that is going to move your business forward, what else are you failing to achieve in your life as well? Because the chances are that this is an ongoing thing that's happening in all areas of your life, including weight loss, including relationships, including your business and your marketing and going live and creating content for your business and recruiting people and all this stuff, right? So getting accountability is really, really key. And we use a number of different documents to help our clients. We have monthly goals, for example, and then we also have a bucket list. These are things that you want to do before you die. Like, should coaching be that top level? And it's like, well, yeah, because what you want to do for the top level will determine all the actions and all the things that you do when you start breaking things down. That's what's going to happen. So having a higher level of understanding who it is you want to be and where do you want to be and what holidays do you want, that's really important, because that will determine how much money, and when you know how much money you need, that will determine how many clients you need. So if you sell a product at £300 profit and you want to go on holiday and the holiday is £3,000, then you need 10 clients. It's like, okay, how do we find client number 1? Okay, well, now we need to go live. Now we've got to do all these things. What's your follow-up process like? And so we've taken this top-level thing, and then we've broken it down into these smaller sections, which then break down into actionable chunks. We call that chunking down or chunking up. Chunking up is where you get more abstract, and when you chunk down, you get more specificity about what are the actual things that you're going to end up doing here. And we want to start abstract because we want an overall view on what do you want out of life? Who do you want to be when you grow up? A train driver, an astronaut? Like, what is that? And then what are the steps that are going to get you there? And then what are the actions that are going to get you to those steps? And so that's really how we break it down. And that's where the accountability comes in. Because it's like, okay, Dan, I want to go to, we went to LA over summer, like a $5,000 holiday, and then some, I should think. And so it's like, well, and we saved up for that. We allocated money for that every month. And we allocated it over like 2 years because we knew that that's where we wanted to go. So 24 months divided by, $5,000 divided by 24, it's like 200 quid a month. It's like, now suddenly it's really manageable. And then it's like, okay, well, the money coming from for that £200 a month? Where's the allocation of funds coming from, and what's the bank account that's going to go into? And so getting this level of accountability is really, really important. And being able to say, well, you said you were going to do this and you haven't done this, even though you said you were going to do it. So now you've got a shortfall on cash flow. Okay, but you said that you wanted to go on this holiday. What are you going to do to fill the gap on the cash flow? That's the question. And then in another 2 weeks or another month, if they come back the following month and they still haven't done it, well, now you're two months behind. There's no hiding from that. And one of the good things that we're incredibly good at as entrepreneurs is hiding things that we said to ourselves. We're really good at that. We write it down on a piece of paper, and then magically we lose a piece of paper, and we don't get to where we wanted to get to, and then magically it's as though, well, it wasn't really important, I didn't really want that, and it's bullshit. Of course you wanted that, otherwise you wouldn't have said that that's what you wanted in the first place. It's just the fact that you haven't taken the actions means that now you're not getting those results. So we come back to accountability. You said this is what you want, you said you were going to do this, and you haven't done any of that. And sometimes we're nice about it, and sometimes we're not nice about it. Well, how does that make you feel? Well, I feel like a schmuck. Okay, and what do you think your kids think of you? Oh my God, they think I'm a total waste of space. Okay, and how does that make you feel? It makes me feel really sad. So what do you need to do? I need to get cracking. Exactly. What are the steps for you to get cracking? What's the first thing you need to do? What's the next thing you need to do? How many times do you need to go live next week? 5 times, let's say. 3 times, once, whatever that happens to be. It's like, okay, let's record that, and then in 2 weeks we can see how that's been done. And that's where you get ultimate accountability when you get a coach. Now, I don't believe that you should just use a coach for accountability, because I think it's an awful waste of money, quite frankly. It's like having your mum and dad tell you off for not having done something, you know. And I just think that's a waste of money. But every so often, I think you need that kick up the ass. And I know I need a kick up the ass. And the other thing that we're really good at as entrepreneurs is that when nobody's looking and we're not doing the work, it doesn't matter. But as soon as somebody's looking at the fact that we're not doing the work, now it starts to matter. And so actually we need to start working, because we don't want to look like an idiot, like we're full of all these ideas, and when it comes down to it, we can't actually action any of them. And just having a third person look at what you're doing will improve the way that you do that. So for example, with weight loss, we know this. With weight loss, let me just check. Yeah, we are live, aren't we? I better just double check. With weight loss, for example, if you just record, if you take a picture of all the food that you're eating and just upload it to Facebook, you will lose weight, right? Because as long as you have a commitment to actually record everything that you eat, yeah, we are live, I just wanted to check. As long as you have that commitment for everything that you want to eat, and you actually take a picture and upload it to Facebook, because people are looking at what you're eating, you can start to eat better. And it's the same on MyFitnessPal, which is on looking for my mobile phone. So download MyFitnessPal, start recording all of your calories, and the simple act of recording what you've eaten will help you lose weight, because you're probably eating more than you think you are. Just the very fact that a third person or an app is recording what you're doing, you know, we're kind of in cat in a box territory, aren't we? With Scrodinger's cat. You know, have you really eaten that donut if nobody's looking? And that looking at the app and seeing how many calories you've eaten and uploading the donut to Facebook and letting other people see that you've eaten the donut means, yes, you have eaten it. The point of looking at, collapsing the wave function. Anyway, let's not go down quantum physics. But just the fact that you're recording this stuff and you're getting some level of accountability is awesome. And that's where you can get extra accountability through the use of a coach. But as I say, I don't think that's the best use of your coaching money if it's just for accountability. But as I say, every so often, man, you need a kick up the ass. I know I need a kick up the ass. And so that's why we have coaches and things. So the next thing then, the next reason why getting a coach will drive you forward, your business forward quickly, is instant knowledge. The number of times I see someone doing something, I'm like, what are you doing that for? And they're going, well, I don't know how else to do it. I'll give you an example. When we make payments, some of our freelancers are not VAT registered. We don't use a whole amount of freelancers, but every so often we have to. And they're not VAT registered. And when I put them into Zero, Xero has changed them to being VAT registered, and I have to go and unregister them because they're not registered, and it messes up all our VAT payments and things. And I keep getting told off by my accountant. So this weekend I spent some time going through the whole year's worth and just changing these back. And I was doing it line by line by line. And I spoke to the accountant, and then she's like, no, you don't have to do it like that. You can just do this one thing and it will do all of them. It would have saved me like 3 hours. But because I didn't know that, I didn't have the instant knowledge that would have solved that problem very, very quickly. And that's really what coaching is. Like a mentor is somebody who's already gone through what you're wanting to go through. We just had a chat with a guy, and he wants to get going in property, but also wants some digital marketing. Well, weirdly, we do both of those things and have done those things for, 26 years as a property investor and a sourcer and a developer, and the last 10 years in digital marketing. So we've gone through all of that. So we actually know it inside out and back to front. We know all the pitfalls. Being a landlord, for example, no, don't do that. Do it like this. This will streamline the process. So you get this instant knowledge, and that's what most people are lacking. They need this instant knowledge to streamline the activities that they're doing, and that will help them get results faster. Can they still get results without having that knowledge? Yes, of course they can, but they have to go through this process of learning. And the process of learning can be anything from a week to a year or 10 years, right? And it's like, well, why do that? If you don't know anything about nutrition and you book yourself a nutrition coach and they're going to help you understand nutrition and these ideas that you have about nutrition, which are completely wrong, they're going to help you reorganize what you think about nutrition so that actually it's correct. And just giving a person this one snippet of information can literally be life-changing. And the analogy that I always use is a really funny one. So there's a guy and he's very, very drunk, and he's at the bottom of an escalator and he's trying to walk up this escalator. But the problem is the escalator's coming down. And so he's on it and he's doing all the work and he's climbing up this escalator, but next to the escalator is the one that goes up, and he's on the one that's going down, so he's getting nowhere. And then some kind person comes and just kind of points him in the right direction, and as soon as he gets on the escalator going up, he gets to the top to where he wanted to go. That, for me, is a perfect analogy for what happens with the coaching. Because that one tiny little bit of knowledge, which is so obvious to everybody else, but wasn't to this guy, he was doing all the work, and he was, trying to get to the top, trying to get to where he wanted to do, he's putting in all the effort, but he wasn't getting there. Just this one tiny bit of advice, move 2 feet to the left, and he got to the top in seconds. And so I find it funny, this poor dude, he was absolutely off his face. He was so drunk. There's a video on YouTube, I'm sure you can find it. But that little bit of knowledge just enabled him to get to where he was going. And for me, that works so well as an analogy for what most people are doing in their business. And if they just move 2 feet to the left, they get on the escalator to get them to where they wanted to go as well. But they don't, because they're stubborn and they go, oh no, I know everything. And one of the keys to wisdom is knowing that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. And we call this Dunning-Kruger, don't we? Where a person who knows a little bit thinks they knows it all, and the person who knows a lot understands they just understand a small portion of what the whole thing is. Whereas a person who's got a little bit of information, they think they're an expert and know it all, right? Like me at CrossFit. I think I know it all. I haven't got a bloody clue. When you then compare yourself to people who are competing on CrossFit games, their knowledge is much more superior, and they acknowledge that they don't know more. And so this little bit of knowledge is really, really important. You can get that from getting the right coach. And then the next bit here as to why getting a coach will help you drive your business forward quicker is what I call process leaps. And so a process is something in your business. So it's like, what's your sales process? And they'll go, I haven't got one. And it's like, okay, well, let's create one. Let's get pen to paper. Let's write down a sales process. What should that look like? And so I'll give you an example of a sales process. You put content out on social media, such as this. You create shorts from that piece of social media, like we're going to with this. And then we take that and we schedule all of that out onto social media for the next 2 weeks. Then we drive traffic from that social media back to our website, and then the person on the website will either book in a strategy call or they'll buy something. But then we get them on a strategy call, and then we, for the next 15 or 20 minutes, we'll go through where they are, where they want to get to, and what the gap looks like. And we call this bridging the gap. And then at the end of that, we'll make them an offer. That is our sales process. Most small businesses haven't got a sales process. I'll give you an example. My mum and dad were wedding photographers. They're both still alive. Dad's 84, I think. Mum's 82. And they were wedding photographers. And when my dad answered the phone, he would close business differently than when my mum answered the phone to talk to a customer. She would close it a different way. And I'm like, why are you not just working out who's got the best closing method to close the sale and writing that down, and you both should do the same closing, because then you'll both get the same results as a percentage. So if you get 100 phone calls and you're closing 50 versus you're getting 100 phone calls and you're closing 33. Big difference over a long period of time, 50 years in business for God's sake. Massive, right? It's like, this is the process leap. What part of your business hasn't been processed yet? Hasn't got a process. Like when we take on a new digital marketing client, for example, where we actually done for you digital marketing, it's like, okay, we need you to go live, and they just wouldn't go live. It was just really difficult getting them to go live. They felt uncomfortable. Not everybody can do this face to camera stuff like I'm doing right now, and it took me a while to learn how to do it as well. But new clients can't do it at all, right? Some can, but most can't. So it's like, we had to develop a process where we hired an interviewer who now interviews our clients, and then out of that 45-minute interview, we end up with a whole bunch of content. We call it the 90-10 rule, where the client does the 10%. Heck, they don't even do 10% these days. We do 5% because our interviewer does the other 5%. We get all the content, and then we do the other 90%. That right there is a process that we've created for getting content out of our clients, which is usually like getting blood out of a stone. And that's a process leap. We didn't have it before. We created a process and we've moved forward. So now when we have a coaching client and they want to do more content, here's the process. That's it. It's all written down. This is what it looks like from A to B. Very, very simple for people to then incorporate into their business. And so we call that a process leap. And another example of a process leap is for sales. What does that look like? What questions are you asking? What questions have you asked that have worked well, and what questions have you asked that don't work well? Let's get rid of those and let's replace those with other questions that can move a person to making a yes or no decision based on a sale. Like, what is that? And that process should be written down in your business. And most businesses don't have any processes at all. They have a vague idea, which is in the head, and this vague idea is different on every time they do it. And it's like, so then you're getting different results and you don't know which one works better and which one doesn't work as well. And so you should be testing this sales process. We're going to run it like this for the next 10 customers. And after those 10 customers, we're going to make a change and we're going to run it like this. And then we're going to look at what's the conversion rate, 50% or 33%. And then we're going to go back to the other one or whichever one works better. That's the process leap. And most businesses don't ever go down and do any of that process because it's just this vague fuzziness in their brain because they haven't got time to do it, or at least they think they haven't got time to do it. And actually, if they did have time to do it, they would have a better conversion process. And a better conversion rate means they have to work less, they close more clients, they can put the prices up, makes life easier. And they never get to that point. And then just finally on this, we know through the long-term coaching clients that we have, and we've had coaching clients, for the last few years, the same ones over and over again. And our coaching turns around from accountability and instant knowledge and process leaps into more of a sounding board. Dan, I've got this idea and I'm thinking about doing this. And then it's like, okay, well, let's break that down into easily actionable steps. And then the next 2 weeks, we do have the same conversation of, these were the steps. Did you do them? No. Why didn't you do them? Why did you not send those letters out? What's the mental control that's preventing you from actually doing the things that you say? What is the self-sabotage? And we can dig deeper once we get beyond all the initial things. Little things, for example, like what's your forecast looking like? 12-month forecast. What is that? Let me just grab a quick drink, by the way. Because a lot of businesses do not have a 12-month forecast. And not only a 12-month forecast, what's your 5-year forecast? What's that going to look like? Where do you want to be in 3 years? In 18 months? In 12 months? In 6 months? What is that looking like? What are the goals? What are the longer term goals? What are the short term targets for you to hit along the way? That's when you hit those goals means that you're going to get your dreams in place. What does that look like? And again, knowing what those end things are will enable you to work out what the daily things. But if you're not doing the daily things, what is this self-sabotage that you're putting in place? And we all have them, by the way. I have them. Before I came live, I'm like, oh, nobody wants to listen to this. Like, crazy negative talk, right? And I have to work on it as well. This is not a natural... I don't think this is a natural thing for anybody to do, talking to a camera for, what, we're up to 20 minutes now. I think it's weird as hell. Is anybody listening? Does anybody care? Does anybody download the podcast shows? Yes is the answer, because we can see the stats. Sometimes people are not watching the live streams, but we know they then watch the shorts, and then that drives them back to the website. And sometimes people dip in and dip out. So we all have these self-sabotaging thought processes that go through our mind, and so we're able to dig deep. And this sounding board is really useful because we've got the digital marketing agency, and they might go, Dan, I think I'm going to do this. And we go, no, don't do that. We've got this other client who tried that, didn't work, but they did it like this instead, and then that worked. Like, that can quickly, what's the word? Escalate. It can quickly get you to where you want to faster than if we didn't have that conversation. And that sounding board is so useful in order to help you do that. And the other reason why a sounding board is so useful is it is so lonely. You're at the top of this pyramid and you got on your way up and you're the boss and you've got 5 staff. Who the hell do you talk about all the stuff that's going on in your life? You can't talk about it with the other team. If cash flow is an issue, you can't talk about that with your other team. Where do you go? Who do you talk to about that? What is the sounding board? And usually it's your partner, and they're not interested. They don't care, really. And sometimes they do, or they say they do, but you really, you're just getting lip service. Oh, yes, that's nice, dear. And so where do you go to get that help and to get that support and to get a different way of looking at things and to play devil's advocate as well? Just to kind of shove it back your way and go, well, are you actually looking at the problem properly? Because you've just seen it from one angle. Let's change the angle that you're looking at this problem, because you think this is a problem and I think this is an opportunity. So how do we transition that from a problem to an opportunity? And that sounding board process gets a lot of results as well. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. We're always here to help. We've got a special offer on at the moment, so you can take a look at that down below. And other than that, have a great week, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.